The Greatest Show on Earth, The Evidence for Evolution, by Richard Dawkins. Read by Richard Dawkins
and Lalla Ward. Imagine that you are a teacher of Roman history and the Latin language, anxious to impart your enthusiasm for the ancient world, for the elegiacs of Ovid and the odes of Horace, the sinewy economy of Latin grammar as exhibited in the oratory of Cicero, the strategic niceties of the Punic Wars, the generalship of Julius Caesar, and the voluptuous excesses of the later emperors. That's a big undertaking, and it takes time, concentration, dedication. Yet you find your precious time continually preyed upon, and your class's attention distracted by a baying pack of ignoramuses, as a Latin scholar you would know better than to say ignorami, who, with strong political and especially financial support, scurry about tirelessly attempting to persuade your unfortunate pupils that the Romans never existed, that there never was a Roman Empire. The entire world came into existence only just beyond living memory. Spanish, Italian, French, Portuguese, Catalan, Occitan, Romanche. All these languages and their constituent dialects sprang spontaneously and separately into being and owe nothing to any predecessor such as Latin. Instead of devoting your full attention to the noble vocation of classical scholar and teacher, you are forced to divert your time and energy to a rearguard defence of the proposition that the Romans existed at all, a defence against an exhibition of ignorant prejudice that would make you weep if you weren't too busy fighting it. If our fantasy of the Latin teacher seems too wayward, here's a more realistic example. Imagine you are a teacher of more recent history, and your lessons on 20th century Europe are boycotted, heckled or otherwise disrupted by well-organised, well-financed and politically muscular groups of Holocaust deniers. Imagine that you are continually faced with belligerent demands to teach the controversy and to give equal time to the alternative theory that the Holocaust never happened but was invented by a bunch of Zionist fabricators.
The plight of many science teachers today is not less dire. When they attempt to expound the central and guiding principle of biology, when they honestly place the living world in its historical context, which means evolution, they are harried and stymied, hassled and bullied, even threatened with loss of their jobs. At the very least, their time is wasted at every turn. They are likely to receive menacing letters from parents and have to endure the sarcastic smirks and close-folded arms of brainwashed children. They are supplied with state-approved textbooks that have had the word evolution systematically expunged or bowdlerized into change over time. Once we were tempted to laugh this kind of thing off as a peculiarly American phenomenon. Teachers in Britain and Europe now face the same problems, partly because of American influence, but more significantly because of the growing Islamic presence in the classroom, abetted by the official commitment to multiculturalism and the terror of being thought racist. It is frequently and rightly said that senior clergy and theologians have no problem with evolution and in many cases actively support scientists in this respect. The Archbishop of Canterbury has no problem with evolution, nor does the Pope, give or take the odd wobble over the precise paleontological juncture when the human soul was injected, nor do educated priests and professors of theology. What we must not do is complacently assume that, because bishops and educated clergy accept evolution, so do their congregations. Alas, there is ample evidence to the contrary from opinion polls. More than 40% of Americans deny that humans evolved from other animals and think that we, and by implication all of life, were created by God within the last 10,000 years. The figure is not quite so high in Britain, but it is still worryingly large, and it should be as worrying to the churches as it is to scientists. This book is necessary. I shall be using the name History Deniers for those people who deny evolution, who believe the world's age is measured in thousands of years rather than thousands of millions of years, and who believe humans walked with dinosaurs. To repeat, they constitute more than 40% of the American population. The history deniers themselves are among those that I am trying to reach in this book. But, perhaps more importantly, I aspire to arm those who are not history deniers but know some, perhaps members of their own family or church, and find themselves inadequately prepared to argue the case. Evolution is a fact. Beyond reasonable doubt, beyond serious doubt, beyond sane, informed, intelligent doubt, beyond doubt, evolution is a fact. The evidence for evolution is at least as strong as the evidence for the Holocaust, even allowing for eyewitnesses to the Holocaust. It is the plain truth that we are cousins of chimpanzees, somewhat more distant cousins of monkeys, more distant cousins still of aardvarks and manatees, yet more distant cousins of bananas and turnips. Continue the list as long as desired. That didn't have to be true. It is not self-evidently, tautologically, obviously true. And there was a time when most people, even educated people, thought it wasn't. It didn't have to be true, but it is. We know this because a rising flood of evidence supports it. Evolution is a fact, and this book will demonstrate it. No reputable scientist disputes it, and no unbiased listener will reach the end of the book doubting it.
Why, then, do we speak of Darwin's theory of evolution, thereby, it seems, giving spurious comfort to those of a creationist persuasion, the history deniers, the 40%ers, who think the word theory is a concession, handing them some kind of gift or victory?
What is a theory? What is a fact?